He swerves to save a woman and drives straight into a town that wants him punished. Sirens wail. Ash falls from the sky like snow. Monsters crawl out of guilt itself. A man searches for his wife, but the town already knows his sins. Every step toward her pulls him deeper into hell. And the most terrifying truth of all, Silent Hill isn't after his body, it's after his secrets. But to understand how it all began, we go back. The movie opens with James tearing down a dark highway, running from mistakes he refuses to face. One hand clenches the wheel, a cigarette burns between his lips. Speed limits don't exist. Suddenly, a bus swerves across the road, blocking everything. Headlights vanish, brakes scream. Then, he sees her. A woman standing directly in his path. Too close, too late. James jerks the wheel in blind panic. He misses her body, but not her luggage. Suitcases explode across the asphalt. Clothes scatter everywhere, fluttering like confetti at a nightmare parade. James stumbles out, hands shaking, apologizing as he scrambles to help. The woman laughs it off, but her smile is thin. The shock is still there. The bus is gone. She's stranded, drowning in guilt. James offers her a ride, asks where she's headed. She answers calmly, Silent Hill. The air shifts instantly. Right on cue, a vicious snowstorm rolls in. Sudden, unnatural, almost intentional. A warning. James ignores it. He keeps driving. Then, everything shatters. James snaps awake inside a filthy bar. That wasn't now. It was a memory. No one knows how long he's been out. But one thing is obvious. James is a mess. Drunk, angry, drowning in regret. He even tries to start a fight. The bouncers shut it down fast, drag him outside, dump him into the alley like garbage. As he staggers up, his phone rings. His psychologist. James stares at the screen, already knowing what's coming. He answers anyway, no sugarcoating. James is spiraling, reckless, out of control. He's ordered to go home, sleep it off, show up sober tomorrow. No excuses. When James reaches his apartment, something stops him cold. A letter from Mary. She's asking him to come back to Silent Hill. That's never happened before. He doesn't question it. He doesn't hesitate. He grabs his keys and leaves. On the drive, memories flood back. Real ones, happy ones, laughter, love, a life he barely recognizes. Silent Hill was part of that happiness. They went there often. Somewhere along the way, something changed. Maybe the town did. Maybe James did. After a long, exhausting drive, James finally reaches Silent Hill. Almost immediately, a strange woman approaches, asking for help with her bags. James hesitates, asks about Mary. She hasn't seen her. Then she adds, quietly, she'll be waiting if he fails. James studies her, confused, unsettled. Then he walks away. As he enters the town, reality settles in. The streets are deserted. Ash falls like dirty snow. Buildings rot in suffocating silence. No people, no voices, no warmth. James slows the car, dread sinking into his chest. This doesn't feel like a town. It feels like a burial ground, an open grave. As James pushes deeper into Silent Hill, a faint melody drifts from a nearby tunnel. In a place this dead, any sound feels wrong. Curiosity wins. James steps inside. A man lies collapsed beside a crackling radio, static fighting the silence. James asks what's happening. The man jolts awake, eyes wide with terror. He screams at James to leave now. He warns something evil is coming, something that hunts. The fear is raw, unfiltered. James brushes it off, assuming the man's just another victim of decay. He leaves him behind, heads for the bar, desperate for shelter or proof anyone's alive. Inside, it's empty, dust, rot, silence. As James moves through the room, memories surface. This place used to feel warm. Mary once brought him here, proud, smiling. She introduced him to the locals like family. Her relatives helped build Silent Hill. Back then, the town breathed. That illusion shatters. A scream outside. James runs toward it. The man from the tunnel is dead, his body twisted, broken, unmistakably lifeless. James barely processes it before something moves behind him. He turns and faces a nightmare, a lying figure its body wrapped tight, restrained by its own flesh. A massive slit runs down its chest, pulsing, waiting to tear open. The creature lunges. James has no weapon, no plan. He grabs whatever he can, fighting on pure instinct. After a brutal struggle, the creature recoils. It crawls beneath a nearby car, vanishing into the sewers below. James stands alone, shaking, gasping for air. This town is far worse than he imagined. Night falls, and reality collapses. Sirens howl through the streets. Lying figures pour from the fog. More rise from the ground. Giant, cockroach-like creatures clawing from the sewers. They swarm everything. James doesn't hesitate. He runs through alleys, down streets, straight through chaos. Without realizing it, he reaches Mary's old house. Inside, the madness quiets, for now. Then he hears it. Mary's voice, faint, familiar. James follows it upstairs, heart pounding in his ears. A television hisses with static. Beside it, a box of VHS tapes. Suddenly, his vision warps. Pain detonates in his skull. James collapses to his knees as disturbing images flood his mind. Fragmented, violent, wrong, panicking. He calls his psychologist, begging for help mid-sentence. The call cuts out. On the other end, the psychologist panics, contacts emergency services immediately. James forces himself onward, searching the house. In the bathroom, a man is violently vomiting. His name is Eddie. Eddie says he's also looking for Mary. He warns James to leave Silent Hill. People got sick here, really sick. Then they started dying. Almost no one is left. To prove it, Eddie shows disturbing marks on his body. Before they can say more, a sound echoes through the house. Someone is crying. They follow it upstairs. A young girl stands there. Her name is Laura. She clutches a toy baby to her chest. James approaches slowly, trying to calm her. For a moment, the nightmare pauses. Then, a shrill sound erupts. Loud, violent, unbearable. The moment shatters. The town is changing again, and its rules are about to get much worse. Eddie completely loses control. He screams that James has triggered something evil. This time, he's right out of the darkness. Pyramid Head steps forward, a towering executioner, dragging himself closer. His massive metal helmet scrapes the ground. Rusted steel, impossible, wait. One glance ignites pure terror. Everyone scatters. James runs. He barely slips through a narrow gate. It slams shut behind him. Seconds later, Pyramid Head reaches it. With horrifying ease, he rips the metal bars apart like paper. James doesn't look back. He dives into a nearby room, slams the door. Inside, a single mannequin stands frozen. The silence feels wrong. Then, it moves. The mannequin twists, limbs bending unnaturally. Flesh reshapes. The head vanishes. It becomes a spider-like creature. Skittering across the floor, James dives into a closet just as heavy footsteps thunder into the room. Pyramid Head has entered. He doesn't hesitate. He attacks the creature with brutal precision. The fight is swift, merciless. Pyramid Head overwhelms it, tearing it apart with obscene strength. He lifts the mangled remains, drapes them over his shoulder, like a trophy. As he turns to leave, Pyramid Head stops, slowly, deliberately. He turns toward the closet. The doors are ripped open. James freezes, certain this is the end. Then, the sirens scream again. The sound fractures everything. James, the monster, reality itself. Pyramid Head staggers, disoriented, then retreats. James collapses, shaking, alive. Later, James wakes inside the closet. The sirens are gone. When he steps outside, the town looks normal. The streets are empty but intact. The air is clear. The nightmare feels paused. Outside Mary's house, James sees Laura again. She says Mary gave her the toy. That detail hits hard. If Mary gave it away, she had to be here. She had to be alive. Before James can ask more, the sirens return. Laura bolts. She disappears into a twisting maze of walls and shadows. James chases her, but she's gone, completely. Then, someone else appears. A woman, blonde, calm, watching him. She looks almost exactly like Mary. James stammers, explaining he's searching for his wife. She listens, then calmly says everyone became sick. After that, everything fell apart. They leave the maze together, moving cautiously through the streets. The quiet doesn't last. Grotesque creatures emerge from the fog. They run again. Eventually, they reach the hospital. Inside, memories surface. Before the nightmare fully began, James once visited Mary's apartment. Townspeople surrounded her. They spoke obsessively about love, togetherness, family. James waited until they left. He admitted how uncomfortable it felt. Mary dismissed it. She said everyone in Silent Hill was family. That memory lingers as James moves through the halls, and a realization settles in. The sickness didn't start with the monsters, it started long before the town turned into hell. Another memory forces its way into James's mind. He sees the townspeople again. This time, they aren't smiling. They escort a young woman underground, into a hidden place beneath Silent Hill. Torches flicker, chants echo. The truth feels close enough to touch. Then, the blonde woman snaps him back to the present. She tells him it's time he hears the full story. Silent Hill once hid a cult. It formed years ago under a man named Joshua. He preached devotion, unity, salvation. Joshua had a daughter. Her name was Mary. After Joshua's death, the cult fractured. Without him, devotion curdled into obsession. They turned on his daughter, harassed her, isolated her, pulled her deeper into rituals, convincing themselves it was love. Something inside James fractures. A memory he buried claws back. He remembers going underground himself. He remembers the initiation. The room was soaked in red light. Mary stood at the center, trembling, her body smeared with thick red paste, symbolic, ceremonial. She was terrified. People surrounded her, chanting softly. They told her it was an honor. They said it was love. The sirens scream, reality slams back into place. James grabs the blonde woman's hand. They run. They don't get far. In another wing of the hospital, they stop. Nurses stand frozen, their heads twitch slightly. Watching, James tries to sneak past, barely breathing. One nurse snaps awake. She slams a metal pipe to the floor. The sound jolts the others to life. Chaos erupts. They sprint down the halls as nurses swarm. One catches them. She attacks viciously, badly injuring the woman. James drags her into a room, desperate to stop the bleeding. She's weak, terrified. She grips his hand. She begs him to find Mary. And if he can't, she makes him promise. Promise to come back. Promise they'll escape together. James agrees. Then, he leaves her behind. Almost immediately, James runs into Laura again. She shows him her toy baby, but it isn't a toy anymore. It moves, breathes. Something inside it is alive. Wrong. James runs. Panic takes over. He's trapped in room 318. Inside waits a monster, huge, multi-armed, its flesh smeared with thick red residue. James fights, but it's hopeless. The creature overwhelms him. One arm forces its way into his mouth. Laura watches calmly from the doorway. She tells him he isn't ready, not ready to return for Mary. Everything goes black. James wakes in a hospital bed, bright lights, clean sheets. His psychologist stands over him, an assistant beside him. Both look confused. They don't know how James was brought in. They don't know what caused this. The psychologist speaks gently but firmly. Mary is dead. She died some time ago, after they broke up. James refuses to accept it. He insists she's alive, somewhere in Silent Hill. Then, one final memory hits. James remembers begging Mary to leave. He told her what he'd seen underground. She exploded. She said she tried leaving before. It never worked. The argument spilled into the street, onto the road, the suitcases, the accident. Their fight turned bitter. James grabbed his things and stormed off. Neighbors watched in silence. That was the last moment things were normal. After that, everything changed. Back in the present, James stands by a window. Outside, the world twists. The sky bleeds red. Hundreds of moths slam against the glass. That's the signal. Silent Hill has fully returned. The blonde woman stands beside him, her voice urgent now. She tells him to stop. He came for Mary. He didn't find her, that should be enough, but James refuses. He steps into an elevator, descending deeper into the town's core. She follows, begging him to turn back. Some truths are too heavy, she warns. Once uncovered, there's no escape. James cuts her off. Cold, certain. He tells her she isn't real. She's a defense mechanism, a story his mind invented to protect him. James closes his eyes. Pyramid Head appears behind her. In a single, brutal motion, it's over. For one chilling second, Pyramid Head turns its helmet toward James. It doesn't attack. It watches. Like it understands, everything goes black. James awakens beside a silent lake. Ahead, a massive building burns, flames clawing into the sky. Inside, he finds Laura crawling across the floor, wrong, distorted. She suddenly sits up, calm, composed. She asks when he plans to face the truth. The world fractures again. James now stands in a cemetery. He stares at a tombstone, Mary Shepard. Laura appears beside him and whispers, "This is where you stopped running." James opens his eyes. He's in a burning hallway. Inside one room lies Angela, exhausted, defeated. She says she's tried escaping, but something always drags her back. James notices hands reaching up from beneath the mattress. They wrap around her wrists. He reaches out to help, but the hands yank her down. They drag James with her. He's beaten, broken, thrown into another twisted reality. A creature emerges. It constantly shifts shape. It wears Mary's face. James collapses. He sobs. He apologizes for failing her, for not saving her, for staying silent. The creature ignites. It burns away completely. James sees Mary walking toward the hospital rooftop. He chases her, desperate. He cannot lose her again. On the roof, only a bed remains. A body lies beneath a white sheet. James pulls it back. It's Mary, and the truth finally crashes down. Mary was sick, terminally ill, dying slowly. James stayed through every moment. The pain, the anger, the decay. He never left her side, but the suffering became unbearable. Mary begged him to end it. James resisted, until one night, he couldn't watch anymore. He smothered her. He ended her life. James accepts the truth. At last, he places Mary's body into his car. He drives to the lake. The plan is simple: to go down with her. The car sinks beneath the surface. The water closes in. James begins to fade. Then, another car approaches in the distance. James opens his eyes. He's back on the road. The day he first met Mary. Time feels folded in on itself, like a final mercy, a second chance, a chance to choose differently. But this time, something changes. That's where the story ends. James remains suspended between guilt and forgiveness, between punishment and redemption. So here's the real question. If you were James at that lake, would you deserve a second chance? Or do some mistakes follow us forever? Let me know your thoughts. If this story pulled you in, hit like. It truly helps. Subscribe for more unsettling, thought-provoking recaps. Stories that don't just scare us, they stay with us. Take a breath. I'll see you in the next one.